me commands or anything. When I was growing up, I have 4 brothers and no sisters, and I'm the 4th. So when I was growing up, the way to win an argument at home was to be the last one yelling loudest. It kind of became ingrained in us. We would always fight to be the one on top. And I struggle with that now because I found that the whole world doesn't work that way. As an example of that, I was at a conference last week, and I was at a dinner table at a restaurant that was loud, and I was having a very active conversation with one of the women I had just met across the table from me. There were 7 or 8 other people, and I noticed that there was another woman sitting right next to me, and I hadn't heard her speak. So I did an experiment. The last time, at one point, my conversation partner made some kind of statement, and in the space where I had the impulse to fill and speak, I held myself back, and I kept quiet, and I waited. And it got uncomfortable. But after a few moments, the woman spoke up, and she joined in the conversation. And I found that her name is Leanne, and she works at Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, and she works with PhDs instead of computer scientists, and she has all different work problems than I have, and we had a great conversation that I never would have had if I hadn't opened up that space for her to speak. And I think, I've been thinking a lot about the idea of opening up space, of making space. And it's a metaphor, it doesn't work perfectly. But I've been thinking about it in a lot of different ways, in conversations. Here, we do this all the time. You look around, there's space. And some people would see these empty pews as a problem. But I see them as an opportunity. There are faces here that I've never seen before. But there's space for them. There's a place for them to come in. As a community, we make space all the time. That if you make space, people will come into it. People will fill it. In that conversation, I had the urge to speak into the emptiness. And I didn't. And that left room for someone else to join. So, I would like you to think about making space in all different ways in your lives. It can happen in a lot of different ways. We actually have a number of people on our vestry who have volunteered to be on next year's vestry who have been members here for a year or sometimes less. Some places you go, the space is filled. There are the people who are there, and they're the only ones, and there's no real room for new people to come in and change. Where here we have a way of not just stepping back. In my case, I tend to be forward, so I have to think about stepping back, but just opening up. And I think that's a really special thing about St. Mark's. We try very hard, and I've seen this, to make sure that every person who comes through the door, they're not a stranger. There are no strangers who come into this church. There are just family who we haven't met before. And we'll see people going up to them and making them welcome and saying hello. And I've never seen anyone kind of push someone aside. There's space, and we make that space. Now we also make space in other ways. When we do outreach, we think about giving and receiving. We think about the plus and the minus. There's this equation there. We give, and we have lost something. We have less, and they have more. And I don't really like this equation. Because, I don't know about you, but when these things come up here, I'm not going to go home and go, gee, that can of beans I put in there, I don't have that anymore. What am I going to do about that? I don't think the equation fits. I think about things like this, and I think about the people for whom, people helping people. The people who work there help give Thanksgiving dinners to people who otherwise wouldn't be able to. In that way, we've made a space at their dinner table. That's a place where they can have a community dinner for their family that they might not have been able to have comfortably without that. We do it even more concretely in the Be Safe program. In the summer, people from here and people from other different communities go into, I think it's in Boston or one of the suburbs of Boston, and there's a program there that makes a space for children to play and learn and work and have fun and feel safe. It's a space for them to be that would not have been there were it not for some of the work we do, and some of the work with other people. And it goes beyond that even. When we contribute to Be the Change Kenyon, and I don't remember, they have a new name now, we're helping them make a space for children, again, to worship, to play, to learn, that they might not otherwise have had. We're helping extend their space. And we're doing something else. We're taking that boundary of space, the edge that's between us and them, and we're pushing that out as well. It's no longer us and them. It's all us. We are educating those children. Those children are part of us. Now, as I said with the contributions we make, our space isn't necessarily diminished when we give. I mean, there are people who would argue with this, but I don't notice my taxes not being there until some politician tells me I should. So, when I sign up for a contribution to the church, I don't notice that it's gone. I mean, I have to think about whether or not I can afford such and such a thing, but that's the equation again. So when you get to filling time here, if you see a space or can make a space for someone else to be part of our community, take that opportunity. Now, I love doing it with the kids. I make a space, and Dennis carries the elements up, and everybody smiles. We can do that in lots of different ways. I want to read you actually our mission statement. It reads, St. Mark's is a multi-generational parish in which we celebrate God, enjoy one another, and serve our neighbors. Okay. Our mission is to create a space of safety and support in which all God's people are given the opportunity to be transformed as we explore our faith and call to our call to service. Now, if you read yours, it says place. Place is here. Place is this concrete thing. This is a word. If I could change one word in our mission statement, that would be it. Because we have a place, and we need to maintain this place, both financially and with our spirit and our giving and our welcome. But I think our place extends beyond here. And I think as we make our contributions, we need to remember that. Both our contributions to each other, our hugs, our smiles, because those are contributions too. But when we decide how we're going to carry forward the work of our church, consider the space. Consider the space we can make for ourselves, for other people, and for people we don't even know